Two Delhi-based women journalists detained by the Tripura police after an FIR was registered against them for instigating communal tensions. The Editors Guild demands their release. The Home Ministry dismisses reports of vandalism at a mosque in Tripura that led to anger and outrage, says these news reports are fake and a complete misrepresentation of fact. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra says no alliance in UP. The Congress will fight on all seats and will fight alone. The Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra says in Bulandshahr. The Bhima Koregaon accused Miland Teltumde among 26 Maoists gunned down in the Gadchiroli encounter. The government brings about two ordinances to extend the tenures of the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate chiefs to up to 5 years. The chiefs of the central agencies currently have a 2-year tenure. And Australia win their maiden T20 World Cup title after beating New Zealand by 8 wickets in the final. Two women journalists have been detained in Assam on a Sunday after a case was filed on a complaint by a supporter of the right-wing group, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. Samriddhi Sakhunia and Swarna Jha say that they were covering the recent violence in Tripura. The Tripura police says in a statement that the case involves a tweet by one of these journalists about the vandalism of a mosque, which the police says is incorrect. The Editors Guild of India tweeted to say that it condemns the arrest and has demanded the immediate release of these journalists and the restoration of their freedom to travel.
एयरपोर्ट जा रहे थे, एक्चुअली हमें वहाँ से फ्लाइट लेनी थी कि हम इस रोड से जा रहे थे, तभी इस रोड पे पुलिस लोग यहाँ पे खड़े थे। फिर उन्होंने कहा कि आपको हमारे साथ आना होगा, तो हमने पूछा कि क्यों। फिर उन्होंने बोला
उन्होंने वहाँ पे हमें कुछ भी नहीं बताया। हम अंदर आए, हमें बैठाया गया, अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 15-20 मिनट्स उन्होंने बताया कि यहाँ पे त्रिपुरा पुलिस से हमें ऑर्डर्स आए। तो हमने पूछा कि सर कोई ऑफिशियल ऑर्डर है तो आप हमें दिखा दीजिए पेपर में। बट देन द ऑफिसर इंचार्ज टोल्ड मी नो, देयर इज नो ऑफिशियल ऑर्डर, वी हैव हैड अ कॉन्वर्सेशन ओवर कॉल। मैंने बोला ठीक है। एंड इट्स बीन मोर देन आई थिंक 3.5 hours वी आर सिटिंग हियर। इट्स जस्ट दैट 20 मिनट्स अगो त्रिपुरा पुलिस यहाँ पे आई है, ठीक है, एस्कॉर्ट टीम आई है। एस्कॉर्ट टीम आती है, यहाँ पे बैठती है। हमने उनसे पूछा कि सर 5 मिनट रुक जाइए, हमारे लॉयर्स आएंगे। उन्होंने जोर से बोला कि नहीं, कोई नहीं आएगा।
फिर आप हमें जो ले जा रहे हैं तो एटलीस्ट अपना ऑर्डर कॉपी दिखा दीजिए। तो उन्होंने उससे वो दिखाने से भी डिनाई किया है। अभी
बोलते हैं कि हम एस्कॉर्ट टीम के।
And the HW News network, where the women work, says the detention took place despite the police allowing them to leave their hotel and giving them a week's time to record a statement. This is sheer harassment and the targeting of the press on part of the Tripura police. Last week, there were tweets circulated on social media alleging that a mosque in Tripura had been vandalized during a rally by the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. The Union Home Ministry today issued a strong denial, saying that these reports were fake and a complete misrepresentation of facts.
Have been able to gather from our sources at ground zero, as well as I did speak to some senior police officials in Tripura police. In fact, the Tripura police has now come out with a statement, official statement of what really transpired. Now, what has happened is that there are two separate cases filed against these two journalists. One which has been filed at Fatikrai police station, which we reported this morning. So the story that we reported in this morning was a case which has been filed against these two journalists in Fatikrai police station, which is in North Tripura, where the case has, the complaint was given by one Kanchan Das, a supporter of BHP, who had given a complaint, and based on his complaint the case was registered. And this morning, police, according to the police, they went to a hotel where these two journalists were putting up in Dharmnagar, which is in North Tripura, and the police claims that they went to the hotel to serve notice to these two journalists to join the investigation. And the journalists claimed that the police was not allowing them to come out of the hotel, and they also complained of intimidation, which the police has denied. The police goes on to claim that the journalists were allowed, in this case, in the Fatigue Rai police station case, they were allowed actually to appear in front of the investigating officer within 21st of November. But this there is another case which has been filed against these two journalists. Now this case is in Kakraban police station, which is in Gomti district of Tripura, and it has been filed on 11th of November. So and this is related to some social media posts again by the journalist, which the police claim that they have verified, and they have found that those the claims made by the journalists in the social media posts are not true, and therefore the police says that they have filed a case where under several sections of the IPC where they are booked for creation of hatred between communities by fabricating and concealing records and for criminal conspiracy. They have been detained in the FIR which has been filed against them on 11th of November at Kakraban police station, which is in Gomti district of Tripura, and this is an FIR which police has taken suo moto. So they have not been detained with regards to the other FIR which we were reporting this morning, which is under Fatigue Rai police station. In that FIR they were allowed to travel back to Delhi, and they were asked to come back on within 21st of November along with their lawyers to appear in front of the investigating officer. But then there is another FIR which was filed on 11th of November, and what a senior police officials have given us to understand that in fact the investigating officer had contacted the two journalists, and they were asked that while you returned, you please visit the police station for examination. Now police claims, and in an official press release, police claims that the two journalists committed that they would come and meet, but they decided to escape. So the word used here is that the two reporters made an escape towards Assam. On getting the information, Assam police was contacted and they were detained at Nilam Bazar police station. Now Nilam Bazar is actually the first major Assam town that comes after at the Assam-Tripura border.
And a top Maoist leader, Milind Teltumde, also an accused in the Bhima Koregaon violence case, was among 26 Maoists gunned down in a massive encounter on Saturday in Maharashtra's Gadchiroli. Now, according to authorities, this operation has wiped out many top leaders of left-wing extremism in India, which is a major threat to national security.
A major success in anti-Maoist operations in Maharashtra. 26 Maoists eliminated by the elite anti-Maoist force C60 commandos in a 10-hour operation led by a top police officer in the district. Top Maoists with bounties on their heads, including Milind Teltumde, who carries a reward of rupees 50 lakh on his head, amongst those killed in the fierce encounter in the forests of Gadchiroli in Maharashtra.
कल जो गडचिरोली में नक्सलियों के साथ जो एक एनकाउंटर हुआ, उसमें कम से कम 26 नक्सलाइट्स मारे गए हुए हैं। गडचिरोली पुलिस ने कंफर्म किया है अभी, तो इसमें मिलिंद तेलतुंबडे भी है।
On Saturday, Maoists had gathered in the Mardintola forest in Gadchiroli district, around 900 kilometers from Mumbai. 16 teams of the C60 commandos with over 500 personnel were involved in the operation that started at 6 in the morning and went on till 4 in the afternoon. Along with Teltumde, Lokesh, alias Mangupodium, and Mahesh, alias Shivaji Gota, both divisional committee members of the banned CPI Maoist, were killed. Mahesh Gota, who carried a bounty of rupees 16 lakh on his head, was the commander of the Kasansur Dalam or squad, while Lokesh was the commander of Company 4 and carried a reward of rupees 20 lakh on his head. 4 policemen suffered injuries and were taken to Nagpur for treatment.
जो ऑपरेशन में खुद थे वो मुंडे, सोमय मुंडे ये थे खुद, और पुलिस ने अपनी जान की बाजी लगाकर 26 जो बहुत ही जहाल नक्सल है, जिनके ऊपर कई लाखों रुपए का इनाम रखा था, उनका इनकाउंटर किया है। ये नक्सलों को बहुत बड़ी सबक है, सीख है। और इसमें एक मिलिंद तेलतुंबड़े नाम का जो जहाल नक्सल था वो भी मारा गया है।
But who is Milind Teltumde? He is a member of the banned group, the CPI Maoist Central Committee, and is active in 4 states. He's active in Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, MP and Telangana, and the police have been looking for him. He's been on the radar of police for years and has planned several attacks on security forces. He's also an accused in the Bhima Koregaon violence case and is the brother of arrested accused Anand Teltumde. This is the first time since 2018 that so many Maoists have been eliminated in one operation. In 2018, 40 Maoists were gunned down in a similar operation in the Etapalli area of Gadchiroli. And since the May 2019 attack by Maoists in Kurkheda, in which 15 policemen and a driver were killed in Gadchiroli, the police had ramped up combing operations. With several top Maoist commanders killed in this operation along with the recovery of AK-47s and grenade launchers, this is a massive success against left-wing extremism in India. In Mumbai, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
And let's go across to Naseem Masoodi, who's reporting that one policeman has been injured during a firing by terrorists in Srinagar. Naseem, what details do you have?
Well, according to police, there was a raid conducted by the police on a suspected place. They came into the fire. One police official, one constable has been injured. He has been shifted to hospital where he is being treated. While on one hand, police are saying they have been carrying out operations to track down militants. They have recently 3 militants have been killed in 2 separate operations in Srinagar and Kulgam. And today evening they also carried out the one such operation. But it also shows the presence of militants in Srinagar city. Not only that we see the recent targeted killings, civilians being targeted, but also the policemen coming under the target. While it was an operation, but according to police, they launched the operation at a suspected place. But they came under firing. Not only the one person was injured, but also looks like the attackers have managed to escape even as, security force launched an operation, cordon search operation. But till late this evening, no one has been tracked down so far.
Naseem Masoodi reporting from Srinagar. Thank you for that update. And the Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra on Sunday declared that the Congress will not form any alliance in the upcoming Uttar Pradesh Assembly elections, that the Congress will fight on all seats and will fight alone, the Congress leader said while addressing a rally in Bulandshahr.
अगर 40% टिकट महिलाओं को मिलेंगे तो उससे भी ज्यादा टिकट हमारे संगठन के लोगों को मिलेंगे। हम आपको खड़ा करेंगे, हम आपको आगे बढ़ाएंगे।
Well, I think you can look at it both ways, Sarah. I mean, you can say that perhaps the Congress is being brave about this, and they are saying that they have the confidence to go in to the 2022 election, all guns blazing, as we say. And that's why they'll fight all 403 seats. The other way to look at it is that this gets tougher for the Congress, because at the end of the day, they had to find somebody to ally with. And if you have no one to ally with, then you have no option but to come out and say that we are going to fight all seats. Now, there was some talk, unsubstantiated of course, in the last few weeks that the Congress was exploring back-channel negotiations with the Samajwadi Party, hoping that some kind of alliance could be struck. Because remember that the Congress and this lost ground that you spoke about, this is a huge, huge lost ground in that sense. 7 seats out of 403 was an abysmal performance, and the Congress plunged even lower in 2019 in the Lok Sabha polls, when it won just 1 seat and Rahul Gandhi lost his Amethi seat to Smriti Irani. So things are very tough. Yes, Priyanka Gandhi has come in the last some time, the crowds are coming to her rallies, but that does not translate necessarily into any kind of voting pattern or vote. So the Congress, yes, will hope that by going alone or by announcing now that they'll go alone, they will have the field to themselves and they will see how best they can manage to do what they can. The other question, of course, being who was willing to ally with them. Samajwadi, this question has been put multiple times to Akhilesh Yadav, who, if you remember, in 2017 did form an alliance with the Congress. But those in the Samajwadi Party who are close to Akhilesh feel that the Samajwadi Party did not benefit in any way from that alliance or from the alliance with Mayawati in 2019 for the Lok Sabha polls, and that is why they want to go it alone and they want to project themselves as the main competitor to the BJP in Uttar Pradesh.
And an Assam Rifles colonel, his wife and 8-year-old son and 4 soldiers were killed in an ambush by terrorists near the porous border with Myanmar and Manipur on Saturday, along with 4 Assam Rifle Jawans. 4 other Jawans were also injured. This is the first attack since the 2015 surgical strikes in Manipur after 18 army Jawans were killed. So are militants showing a renewed strength ahead of crucial assembly polls in the state? And what will New Delhi's response be? Here's a report.
A final tribute to Assam Rifles Colonel Viplab Tripathi, his wife and 8-year-old son who died along with 4 other Assam Rifles Jawans in Saturday's ambush by militants in Churachandpur district very close to the Myanmar border. Their bodies have been flown to their hometown in Raigad for the last rites, but the ambush has raised concerns. This is the first major attack after the 2015 Chandel attack where 18 army Jawans were killed. The first major strike by terrorists in Manipur after the surgical strikes on the Myanmar border. The first time family members of security forces were killed in an ambush. A renewed show of strength by terrorists at a time when the BJP was claiming it had brought peace to Manipur. The attack comes 3 months before the Manipur assembly polls.
I have already instructed to the concerned home departments, my officials, and to punish according to the law. It will be the priority of the government, both center and the state, to fence the forest border.
PLA is among the rebel groups in the northeast that has not accepted the Indian government's offer of talks. Domestic situation in Myanmar has undergone a drastic change, with China having a much greater role than in the previous times.
देखो जहाँ तक नॉर्थ ईस्ट का ताल्लुक है, टेररिज्म बहुत बड़े पैमाने पर कंट्रोल हो चुकी है, लेकिन जब से गलवान में स्टैंड ऑफ हुआ, टेररिज्म फिर उठ के खड़ी हो रही है. इसको एड कर रहा है, अबेट कर रहा है, ट्रेन कर रहा है, फंड्स दे रहा है चाइना. हमारी तरफ से काउंटर एक्शन चल रहा है. बड़ा लाजमी है कि कुछ ही घंटों में या कुछ ही दिनों में ये जो परपेट्रेटर्स हैं इनको पता लगाया जाए और इनको ढेर किया जाए.
A sense of peace was prevailing in Manipur with no major militant attacks in the past couple of years until Saturday's ambush. Now one has to wait and watch what will be New Delhi's response to it. Last time in 2015, when such a major attack took place, New Delhi responded with targeted surgical strikes, hitting out at the bases of the militants on the Indo-Myanmar border. But now, with army rule in Myanmar and elections round the corner, will New Delhi opt for the same option or not is something that one has to wait and watch for. In Guwahati, Ratndeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
Welcome back. More news. The government has brought 2 ordinances to extend the tenures of the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate chiefs to up to 5 years. The chiefs of the central agencies currently have a 2-year tenure. Both the ordinances have been signed off by President Ramnath Kovind. The chiefs of the top agencies can be given extensions as per the ordinances every year for up to 3 years after they complete their 2-year term. And the Delhi government has shut all schools, colleges and educational institutions for a week, banned construction activity for 3 days and announced it's working on a lockdown proposal to help the city breathe. All of this comes into play from tomorrow, that's Monday morning. This after our air quality remained in the severe zone for 7 of the last 9 days. And the big story right now, Australia have won their maiden T20 World Cup title as they have defeated New Zealand in a thriller of a final. Rika Roy was monitoring and enjoying that game thoroughly. She joins us. So Rika, they already have 5 ICC titles, but this one still is special.
This one is very, very special indeed for the Aussies, for the men in green and gold, because this is their first T20 World Cup title, and this is also the first T20 World Cup that goes to the Southern Hemisphere, because all the other teams, 5 teams who have won, are from the Northern Hemisphere. This is also their 6th ICC title. It's pretty special because this has come after a long time of Australia being underdogs. It is not very often that Australia enters a tournament of this magnitude as the least favorite team. They did enter the tournament as someone who could probably go on to make the knockouts, but not beyond, but definitely not win the tournament. But they upstaged all the predictions, and tonight, after New Zealand made 172 for 4, they just finished the match off in 18.5 overs. Kane Williamson, New Zealand captain, made a fantastic 85, and then David Warner came out all guns blazing. He scored a half century. That half century was followed up by an unbeaten 77 run coming off the blade of Mitchell Marsh, another cricketer who's been in and out of the Australian side because of injury, but tonight was his night. He was rightly adjudged the man of the match. In fact, the coach of the Australian side, Justin Langer, was asked about his time with the Australian team, which has been pretty controversial. Also, Australia losing several T20 series in the lead up to the tournament. Many of their players playing in the IPL, being a part of the bio bubble. All of those stories will now be put to bed tonight, with them becoming the world T20 champions.
Thanks, Rekha. And that's how the week has wrapped up. Bye-bye.